So this is a texture tutorial. After you take your texture photos, you're going to place them in Illustrator. And let's do this again. I don't want advanced sharing options. Okay. Let's see. Can everyone see my Illustrator?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. To get your photos into Illustrator, you can drag them directly into Illustrator. So I've opened up a new file just by going File, New, and opened up a new file. I like to work in inches. So I have all of my choices here and I selected letter. To get my image in, you're going to go File, Place. And there's someone who's unmuted. Would you mind mute? Thank you. And then just select a texture from, something that the textures that you've created in here. And then once you place them, you'll have them here. We're going to practice using some of the skills that we've already used in the previous tutorial. So I'm just going to crop using a clipping mask. I created a box over, so just I have the information I need. And I'm going to go Object, Clipping Mask, Make. And that just gives me the images by themselves. I'm going to open up my windows and I'm going to select the layers menu first. I'm going to double click on this layer and make it a template. When you make something a template, it does not print and it will not export. It's hidden on the layer, but it dims it, and you can change this to more or less. So I dimmed that, and I'm going to make a new layer on top of it. Command + to zoom in. What I want you to do is using the pen tool, the shape tool. You can even use the brush tool. I want you to try to recreate some of these textures. So I'm going to go back to my layers, make sure I'm selected on the layer that I want to work on. And if you select the brush tool and you get this icon here, just go up to Window, Brushes, and select the brush. If that doesn't work, go to Library and just select any brush and you should be able to. So I'm going to start by just starting to trace over some of these shapes that I see. And I'm going to simulate this texture using the tools in Illustrator. So I'm just going to simulate these particular shapes. And what I can also do is once I have a grouping of shapes, I'm going to hold down Option, duplicate it, and maybe rotate it. So it doesn't have to be exact, but it can be similar. So I'm going to rotate. I'm just selecting Option. I'm selecting all of them now, holding down Option. So every time I make a little collection, and I'm going to rotate, and you can see that I'm going over the border, and that's okay because I can go back in and use the clipping mask to clip off the extra area. So I'm just shrinking it down so that maybe it fits a little neater. And I'm just duplicating these patterns. that I see. So I'm trying to create a simulated texture. Doesn't have to be exact. I don't want you to get it perfect and make it look exactly like the other one. We're just practicing making simulated textures using Illustrator. So I'm just duplicating over and over, grabbing little portions or bunches of the shape. Doesn't have to be exact. And then when I'm ready and I'm all done, I'll create a box on top. So I made a box and I hit default to get it to be a white fill. And then you can rubber band select everything and object clipping mask make, right? So that's one way to start the process. What I'm recognizing is that although this is a regular repeat pattern, I want to also think about that when I'm creating. The pattern is repeating, and what are the intervals that it is repeating? So you want to make it even clearer that you're creating a regular repeat pattern. So I might go in and say, well, I'm going to make this an alternating regular repeat pattern. So once I make 2, and then I duplicate it again and duplicate it again, and keep doing that with each row until I get a regular repeat pattern, right? For some of the ones that are irregular, I want to show you another way of getting to these textures. So I'm going to make this no longer a template. Put it over here, duplicate it. And if I open my properties menu, it'll give me some more options. I'm going to release this mask. So another technique you can use is if you import a JPEG, you can do an image trace. And I'm going to do an image trace, and I want you to select shades of gray. Shades of gray. Open up this panel that gives you a few more options, and let's bring it down to 6 shades of gray. So I'm going to type 6 inside this bar, enter 6 shades of gray. Now I have the image, it's been made vector, and I have these pieces I can work with for my irregular texture. I want to be able to separate this from the rest of the images, so I'm just going to select it, go to Object, Expand. You want to select Object and Fill, click OK. And it's all grouped together, and in your Properties menu, you should have the option to ungroup. If you don't, Object, Ungroup. And keep ungrouping until you're able to remove all of this other information, because we only want to work with the irregular texture. So for irregular textures, use Live Trace, and then I'll group all of this back together. For irregular textures, you want to use Live Trace, and for regular repeat pattern, you actually want to use the either brush tool, pen tool. So when you expand the Live Trace, you get all of these really cool shapes, because it breaks down all of the shapes within the image and turns them into vector. And now, because you have these shapes, you can change them. If I make them all white fill, black stroke, now you can go in and do use some of the tools that we talked about earlier in regards to changing. You can also go in and change all kinds of points in there. So for regular repeat patterns, you're going to use the pen tool, brush tool, line tool, any of those to actually carve those lines. And then for irregular textures, you'll use the image trace. So import your image, select the tool. Like if I have this one down here, I might take this brush tool and start to trace some of these lines. So once I create these lines, I can then go in and change the stroke weight. And the same tool that we use to expand the photograph can be used to expand lines. So I have these lines, object, expand appearances, and now I can have lines that have a black stroke and a white fill. Okay, so I want you to play with the tools, try to create some simulated textures using your images and the live trace and just the brush tool with a clipping mask. Okay, so I'll put it in the chat. Live trace for irregular texture and line shape tools and line and shape tools plus clipping mask for regular textures. And you can type into Google too things like clipping mask, live trace, and get some more information. All right,